Monica Johnson, known for her sharp legal mind and grace under pressure, decided to treat herself after a significant victory in court. Dressed in a simple yet elegant outfit, she aimed to blend in as just another customer at the high-end jewelry boutique owned by her husband. Monica wanted to see firsthand how the staff treated their clients without the influence of he status or her husband's name. As she entered the boutique, the familiar chime of the doorbell greeted her. The store was immaculate, with its polished glass displays and soft ambient lighting casting a warm glow over the sparkling jewels. Monica felt a sense of calm wash over her as she perused the displays, knowing that this was a space she could enjoy without the usual pressures of her professional life. The boutique staff, however, didn't recognize her. To them, she was just another customer, albeit one with an air of confidence and sophistication. As she moved from case to case, she caught the eyes of the sales associates who exchanged quick glances and subtle gestures that did not go unnoticed. Monica remained composed, curious to see how this interaction would unfold. Monica's decision to shop anonymously was a spontaneous one, born from a desire to escape the usual routine and indulge in a small luxury. She had always admired the fine jewelry her husband's store offered, but rarely did she have the time to enjoy it for herself. Today, however, she was determined to do just that, hoping to find a piece that symbolized her recent triumphs. She scanned the rows of diamonds, sapphires, and gold, appreciating the craftsmanship and elegance of each piece. Her eyes eventually landed on a delicate bracelet, a gold chain adorned with tiny diamonds that shimmered under the soft lights. It was exactly what she had been looking for, something timeless and understated, yet undeniably beautiful. As she reached for the bracelet, she felt a slight hesitation from the sales associate nearby. The woman's demeanor shifted subtly, from polite indifference to a watchful, almost guarded stance. Monica, ever perceptive, noticed the change but chose to ignore it, continuing to admire the bracelet. She wanted to savor this moment, free from the responsibilities and expectations that usually followed her. The boutique's interior was designed to exude luxury and exclusivity, with its sleek glass cases and plush carpeting underfoot. Monica felt a sense of pride knowing her husband had built such an elegant establishment. She walked through the store with a confident stride, her eyes taking in the glittering displays as she enjoyed the brief respite from her demanding career. The staff, dressed in tailored uniforms, moved efficiently between customers, offering assistance where needed. Monica observed them with interest, curious to see how they handled different clients. Although she had never faced discrimination in this store before, she knew that bias could be subtle and pervasive, and today she was determined to experience the service as any other customer might. As she approached the display case with the bracelet, she noticed the sales associate nearby stiffen slightly. It was a small, almost imperceptible reaction, but Monica's trained eye caught it immediately. The woman's guarded expression contrasted sharply with the boutique's welcoming atmosphere, and Monica felt a flicker of unease. However, she maintained her composure, curious to see how the interaction would proceed. Monica's eyes lingered on the bracelet, its delicate design and craftsmanship captivating her attention. She imagined how it would look on her wrist, a subtle yet elegant accessory that could complement her professional attire or add a touch of sophistication to a night out. The diamonds sparkled under the boutique's lighting, each one catching the light in a mesmerizing dance. She gently asked the sales associate if she could try on the bracelet. The woman, a tall, slender figure with neatly styled hair, hesitated briefly before obliging. Her movements were precise, almost robotic, as she unlocked the display case and handed the bracelet to Monica. There was a noticeable stiffness in her demeanor, as though she was on high alert. Monica slipped the bracelet onto her wrist, admiring how it gleamed against her skin. She turned her hands slightly, watching the diamonds catch the light. But the joy of the moment was tinged with an undercurrent of tension. The sales associate stood nearby, her gaze fixed on Monica, as if waiting for something to go wrong. The unease in the air was palpable, but Monica remained composed, determined to enjoy her shopping experience despite the tension. The bracelet had caught Monica's eye the moment she entered the store. Its delicate chain and perfectly set diamonds exuded a quiet elegance that resonated with her personal style. As she held it in her hands, she could feel the weight of its craftsmanship, the coolness of the gold against her skin, and the subtle way the diamonds sparkled in the light. It was a piece that spoke to her, and she knew she had to have it. Monica carefully examined the bracelet, appreciating its intricate design. She noticed the way each diamond was meticulously placed, creating a continuous line of shimmer around the wrist. The attention to detail was remarkable, and she felt a deep sense of connection to the piece, as if it was meant for her. The moment was one of quiet joy, a small but significant reward for all her hard work. However, as she tried to focus on the bracelet, Monica couldn't ignore the growing tension in the room. The sales associate's eyes were still on her, and the air was thick with an unspoken suspicion. Monica's instincts told her that something was amiss, but she chose to remain calm and composed, hoping that her experience would improve as she continued shopping. As Monica continued to admire the bracelet, she could feel the weight of the sales associate's gaze on her. The woman's eyes were sharp, scrutinizing every move Monica made, as if searching for a reason to doubt her intentions. It was a look Monica had encountered before in other settings, one that carried the silent judgment often reserved for those who didn't fit the expected mold of a luxury customer. Monica's heart sank slightly as she recognized the subtle shift in the atmosphere. What had started as a pleasant shopping experience was quickly turning into something else, something far less welcoming. The sales associate's demeanor had changed from polite professionalism to a more guarded and suspicious stance, as if she was waiting for Monica to make a wrong move. Trying to maintain her composure, Monica decided to test the waters by asking a few questions about the bracelet. Her inquiries were met with curt, clipped responses, and the associate's eyes never left her. Monica knew she was being judged, not just as a customer, but as a Black woman in a space that wasn't always welcoming to people who looked like her. Despite the discomfort, she resolved to continue her shopping, determined not to let the suspicion ruin her day. The sales associate's reluctance to engage with Monica became more apparent as the interaction continued. Every question Monica asked was met with a hesitant, almost mechanical response, as if the associate was more focused on monitoring her than providing customer service. Monica could sense the unspoken bias, the way the associate seemed to be doubting her credibility as a legitimate customer. Monica, who was accustomed to dealing with difficult situations in court, found herself using those same skills to navigate the tension in the store. She remained polite and composed, refusing to let the associate's attitude rattle her. Internally, however, she couldn't shake the feeling of being unfairly judged, of being seen as an outsider in a space where she should have been welcomed. The associate's behavior only became more evident when Monica asked to see another piece of jewelry. The woman hesitated, her eyes narrowing slightly before she complied. The delay was subtle, but it spoke volumes. Monica felt a mix of frustration and disappointment, not just at the associate's actions, but at the realization that even in her husband's store, she wasn't immune to the prejudices that so often plagued her everyday life. Just as Monica was about to leave the store, satisfied with her choice of the bracelet, she was suddenly approached by the store manager. His face was stern, his posture authoritative, as he blocked her path. "Excuse me, ma'am," he said firmly. "I need to ask you to step aside for a moment." The request was more of a command, and Monica immediately felt the shift in the room's energy. Surprised and confused, Monica asked, "Is there a problem?" The manager's gaze was unwavering as he responded, "We've had some concerns and need to check your belongings before you leave." The words hung in the air, heavy with implication. The other customers in the store began to take notice, their eyes discreetly watching the unfolding scene. Monica could feel their stares, their judgment, and it made her stomach churn. Monica's mind raced as she processed what was happening. She had been enjoying a quiet shopping trip, and now, without any warning, she was being accused of something she hadn't done. Her professional instincts kicked in, urging her to remain calm and composed, but beneath her calm exterior, a fire of indignation was burning, fueled by the knowledge that this accusation was rooted in nothing more than prejudice. The store manager, a middle-aged man with a no-nonsense attitude, stepped closer, making it clear he intended to resolve the situation on his terms. He looked at Monica with a mixture of suspicion and authority, his gaze assessing her in a way that felt invasive and disrespectful. "We've had some incidents recently," he explained in a tone that was far from apologetic, "and we need to take precautions." Monica's heart pounded in her chest as she listened to the manager's words. She felt the unfairness of the situation weighing heavily on her, but she refused to let her emotions show. Instead, she took a deep breath and maintained her composure. "I understand your need for security," she began, "but I assure you I have done nothing wrong." Her voice was steady, but her eyes betrayed the hurt and anger she felt inside. The manager seemed unfazed by her calm demeanor. He glanced at the sales associate who nodded subtly, as if confirming some unspoken suspicion. "I'm going to have to ask you to empty your bag, ma'am," he said, his tone leaving no room for negotiation. Monica knew she was being cornered, but she also knew that this was a battle she couldn't afford to lose, not just for herself, but for what she represented. The accusation hung in the air like a storm cloud, heavy and oppressive. Monica could feel the eyes of the other customers on her, their silent judgments adding to the weight of the moment. The manager's demand for her to empty her bag felt like a slap in the face, a public declaration that she was not to be trusted simply because of the color of her skin. It was a moment of profound humiliation, but Monica refused to let it break her. Taking a deep breath, Monica set her bag on the counter and slowly began to remove its contents. She could feel her hands trembling slightly, not out of fear, but from the sheer indignity of the situation. Each item she placed on the counter was a testament to her innocence. Her wallet, her phone, a small makeup bag. Yet the manager watched her every move as if he expected her to pull out something incriminating. As Monica emptied her bag, the sales associate looked on with a mixture of satisfaction and unease, as if she was both pleased and nervous about how the situation was unfolding. Monica could feel the tension in the room thickening, the air heavy with the unspoken implications of the accusation. But even as she endured the scrutiny, Monica knew this was not the end of the story. She had yet to reveal her true identity, and when she did, the tables would turn in a way that no one in the store expected. Throughout the ordeal, Monica maintained her composure, drawing on the same inner strength that had seen her through countless legal battles. She knew she was innocent, and she knew that this situation was an unfortunate reflection of the biases that still existed in society. However, she refused to let the manager's accusations shake her resolve or undermine her dignity. As she continued to empty her bag, she could feel the tension in the room building. The other customers whispered among themselves, their curiosity piqued by the unfolding drama. Monica was aware of their stares, but she kept her focus on the task at hand, determined to prove her innocence without succumbing to the anger bubbling beneath the surface. Once her bag was completely empty, Monica met the manager's gaze directly. "Is there anything else you'd like to check?" she asked, her voice calm but with an edge that hinted at her growing impatience. The manager, now faced with an empty bag and no evidence of wrongdoing, seemed momentarily unsure of how to proceed. But before he could respond, Monica decided it was time to take control of the situation and reveal the truth. Monica's patience had reached its limit. The humiliation of being treated like a criminal in her own husband's store was something she could no longer tolerate. "I want to see the store owner," she said firmly, her voice cutting through the tension like a knife. The manager, taken aback by her sudden assertiveness, hesitated before responding, "I'm afraid that won't be necessary. We've cleared up the misunderstanding." But Monica was not about to let the matter drop. She knew that simply leaving the store would do nothing to address the underlying issue of discrimination that had fueled this incident. "No," she insisted, "I'm not leaving until I speak with the owner." Her tone left no room for argument, and the manager, sensing that he was losing control of the situation, reluctantly agreed to her request. As the manager disappeared into the back room, presumably to make a phone call, Monica stood her ground. The sales associate who had initially helped her looked nervous, her confidence from earlier now visibly shaken. Monica could feel the eyes of the other customers on her, but she remained focused, knowing that soon the truth would come to light, and those who had wronged her would be held accountable. As Monica waited, the tension in the boutique was palpable. The manager returned, his expression a mix of uncertainty and nervousness. "The owner will be here shortly," he said, trying to maintain his composure. Monica simply nodded, her face calm but her mind racing with thoughts of how to handle the situation once her husband arrived. Minutes later, the door to the store opened, and in walked a well-dressed man in his late 40s with an air of authority that commanded attention. It was Monica's husband, David Johnson, who immediately noticed the uncomfortable atmosphere. His eyes locked with Monica's, and a brief but intense exchange of unspoken understanding passed between them. The manager, unaware of their connection, began to explain the situation to David, clearly unaware of the storm that was about to break. Monica allowed the manager to finish his explanation, standing silently as the man attempted to justify his actions. When he was done, she turned to her husband and said, "David, I came in today to shop anonymously, and instead, I was treated like a thief." The realization hit the manager like a ton of bricks, and he paled visibly. Monica's calm, authoritative tone left no doubt about the gravity of the situation, and everyone in the room understood that a line had been crossed. The manager's face turned ashen as the full weight of Monica's revelation sank in. He stared at her, wide-eyed, as the realization of his colossal mistake hit him. I didn't know," he stammered, his voice faltering as he struggled to regain his composure. The other employees looked on, their expressions a mixture of shock and unease, fully aware that this situation was far from over. David, maintaining his composure, turned to his wife and asked softly, "Are you okay?" Monica nodded, though the tension in her posture was still evident. David then looked at the manager, his expression hardening. "You've made a serious mistake here," he said, his voice calm but laced with authority. The manager, now visibly trembling, attempted to apologize. "I'm so sorry, sir. I didn't know." But David cut him off, raising a hand to silence him. "Whether you knew or not doesn't change what happened. My wife was treated unfairly, and this reflects poorly on the entire store." The manager's shoulders slumped, and the sales associate who had assisted Monica looked down, avoiding eye contact. The atmosphere in the store was heavy with tension, as everyone waited to see what would happen next. The silence in the room was deafening. Monica stood tall, her gaze steady as she looked at the manager who had so wrongly accused her. The other customers, sensing the gravity of the situation, remained quiet, their earlier whispers now replaced with an uneasy stillness. The weight of the manager's mistake hung in the air, a tangible reminder of the biases that had fueled this unfortunate encounter. David turned to the manager and said, "You will apologize to my wife, and then we will discuss how to prevent this from happening again." The manager quickly nodded, his voice barely above a whisper, as he said, "Mrs. Johnson, I'm truly sorry for the way I treated you. It was wrong, and I apologize for any distress I caused." Monica accepted the apology with a nod, but she knew that words alone were not enough to address the underlying issue. The sales associate, realizing the seriousness of the situation, stepped forward and added her own apology, though her voice shook with nervousness. "I'm sorry too, Mrs. Johnson. I should have treated you with more respect." Monica acknowledged her apology, understanding that while the incident had been deeply hurtful, it also presented an opportunity for change. The silence that followed was filled with the weight of what had transpired and the unspoken acknowledgement that things could never be the same. Monica accepted the apologies with grace, but the sting of the humiliation lingered. She knew the apologies were necessary, but they felt too little, too late. The damage had been done, not just to her, but to the store's reputation and to the relationships within it. The tension in the room was palpable, with everyone waiting to see how Monica would respond. Monica turned to her husband, her voice calm but firm. "David, this isn't just about me. It's about how every customer is treated when they walk through these doors." She looked around the store, her eyes briefly meeting those of the other customers who had been silent witnesses to her ordeal. "This can't be allowed to happen again." David nodded, fully aware of the seriousness of the situation. "You're absolutely right, Monica," he said, turning back to the manager. "We need to address this at the root." The manager, still reeling from the revelation of Monica's identity, nodded quickly, eager to show his willingness to make amends. However, Monica knew that real change would require more than just apologies. It would require action. Taking a deep breath, Monica decided to take control of the situation. She turned to the store manager and the sales associate, both of whom were visibly shaken. "We need to make sure that what happened today doesn't happen to anyone else," she began, her voice steady and authoritative. "This isn't just about an apology. It's about changing the way you see and treat your customers." She paused, allowing her words to sink in before continuing. "From now on, every employee will undergo training on how to treat all customers with respect and dignity, regardless of their background or appearance. We will implement a zero-tolerance policy for discrimination, and anyone who violates it will face immediate consequences." The manager and sales associate nodded, clearly understanding the gravity of what she was saying. David, standing beside her, fully supported her stance. "I'll personally oversee the implementation of these changes," he added, reinforcing Monica's message. The other customers in the store, who had been watching the exchange quietly, began to murmur their approval, recognizing the significance of what was happening. Monica felt a sense of relief, knowing that her actions were setting the stage for meaningful change. As the situation unfolded, Monica became acutely aware of the power her position afforded her. Had she been anyone else, the outcome of this encounter might have been very different. This realization fueled her resolve to ensure that the changes she demanded were not just about her, but about creating a fair and just environment for all customers, regardless of who they were. Monica's thoughts turned to those who might not have the same opportunity to stand up for themselves. People who might have faced similar treatment, but lacked the power or platform to demand accountability. She knew that her responsibility extended beyond just correcting the wrongs done to her. It was about using her position to advocate for those who couldn't. Turning back to the manager, Monica said, "I want to make sure that this store becomes a place where everyone feels welcome and valued. It's not just about avoiding mistakes like this. It's about actively creating an environment of inclusivity and respect." The manager, clearly humbled by her words, nodded in agreement, understanding that his actions moving forward would be under close scrutiny. The sales associate, who had been at the center of the incident, was visibly shaken. She realized the gravity of her mistake, and panic began to set in as she contemplated the possible consequences of her actions. Her confident demeanor had vanished, replaced by a nervous energy as she tried to gauge the severity of the situation. As Monica spoke about the necessary changes, the sales associate's mind raced. She worried about losing her job, the repercussions of her behavior, and the judgment of her colleagues. The realization that she had wronged the owner's wife, someone who clearly had the power to influence her future, added to her anxiety. Monica, noticing the associate's distress, decided to address her directly. "I understand that mistakes happen," she began, her tone firm but not unkind. "What matters now is how we move forward. I want to ensure that you and everyone else here learns from this experience so that no one else has to go through what I did today." The associate nodded, grateful for the chance to learn and improve, though the panic in her eyes had yet to fade completely. The lesson in humility was clear for everyone involved. For the sales associate and the manager, it was a stark reminder of the importance of treating all customers with respect, regardless of their appearance or perceived status. For Monica, it was a reaffirmation of her commitment to fighting against the everyday injustices that people of color often face, even in places where they should feel most comfortable. Monica's words hung in the air, a powerful reminder of the responsibilities that come with working in a customer-facing role. She knew that the incident had been a painful but necessary wake-up call for the boutique's staff. Their future actions would determine whether this experience led to meaningful change or was simply a momentary lapse in judgment. As the tension in the room slowly began to dissipate, Monica turned to the other customers who had witnessed the incident. "Thank you for your patience," she said, acknowledging their presence and the discomfort they must have felt watching the situation unfold. The customers, many of whom had been silently rooting for her, responded with nods and quiet expressions of support. Monica's handling of the situation had left an indelible mark on everyone present. After the initial confrontation, Monica and David decided to take a more measured approach to resolving the situation. David, understanding the importance of transparency and accountability, stepped away to make a call to the corporate office. He wanted to ensure that what had happened was documented and that the necessary steps were taken to prevent such incidents in the future. Monica, meanwhile, took the opportunity to speak privately with the manager and the sales associate. She wanted to understand how they had reached the decision to accuse her and what training or guidance they had received that might have led to this outcome. It was important to her not just to address the immediate issue, but to get to the root of the problem. The conversation was frank but respectful. Monica listened carefully as the manager and associate explained their actions, acknowledging their mistakes while also revealing gaps in the store's training and protocols. Monica took mental notes, already formulating a plan for the necessary changes. This wasn't just about her, it was about ensuring that the boutique became a model of inclusivity and respect for all. Later that day, Monica and David sat down with the store's corporate team in a private meeting. The atmosphere was serious, with everyone fully aware of the gravity of the situation. Monica outlined the events that had transpired, describing not only the humiliation she had faced, but also the broader implications for the store's reputation and customer relations. The corporate representatives listened intently, their expressions ranging from concern to determination. They knew that this incident, if not handled properly, could have far-reaching consequences. Monica's calm yet authoritative delivery left no doubt about her expectations. She made it clear that she wasn't interested in mere apologies. She wanted to see real, substantive changes. David supported Monica's demands, emphasizing that as owners, they had a responsibility to ensure that their store was a welcoming environment for all customers. The corporate team agreed, committing to a thorough review of the store's policies and practices. They promised to implement the necessary training programs and to take steps to ensure that such an incident would never happen again. Monica left the meeting feeling cautiously optimistic, knowing that the real work was just beginning. After the meeting, Monica knew it was important to have a direct conversation with the store manager, who had been at the center of the incident. She requested a one-on-one meeting, wanting to address the situation without the formalities of the larger corporate discussion. The manager, still visibly shaken by the day's events, agreed, though he was clearly nervous about what might come next. Monica began the conversation by acknowledging the manager's role in maintaining the store's operations, but quickly shifted to the heart of the matter. "You're in a position of authority here," she said, her tone firm yet calm. "And with that authority comes a responsibility to treat every customer with fairness and respect, regardless of who they are or what they look like." The manager nodded, clearly remorseful. "I realize now that I made a terrible mistake," he admitted, his voice filled with regret. "I allowed my biases to cloud my judgment, and I'm deeply sorry for how I treated you." Monica appreciated the sincerity of his apology, but knew that words alone were not enough. "I want to make sure that you and everyone else here learn from this," she responded. "It's not just about fixing today's mistake. It's about changing how we do things moving forward." Monica's next step was to ensure that the store implemented real changes to prevent such incidents from happening again. She demanded that the corporate office take immediate action to address the shortcomings in their training and policies. "This isn't just about me," she emphasized. "It's about every customer who walks through those doors and deserves to be treated with respect." The corporate office, fully aware of the potential public relations disaster, agreed to Monica's demands. They promised to implement comprehensive training programs focused on unconscious bias, diversity, and inclusion. They also committed to regular reviews of customer interactions to ensure that all employees were upholding the store's standards of service. Monica also insisted on regular follow-ups to monitor the progress of these changes. She wanted to ensure that the promises made in the aftermath of the incident weren't just empty words. Her persistence and attention to detail were instrumental in pushing the corporate office to take these issues seriously. Monica's actions set a precedent, not just for this store, but for how all branches under the brand would operate moving forward. With the corporate office committed to change, Monica and David worked closely with the management team to discuss specific policy changes that would help prevent discrimination and ensure a welcoming environment for all customers. They started by reviewing the existing policies, identifying gaps that allowed biases to influence decision-making. Monica suggested implementing mandatory diversity and sensitivity training for all employees, not just at the boutique but across all locations. She also recommended creating a clear protocol for handling customer interactions that emphasize respect and inclusivity. It's not just about reacting to situations, she explained, but about creating a proactive culture that values every individual. David supported these ideas, adding his own insights based on his experience in the retail industry. Together, they outlined a comprehensive plan that would be rolled out across the brand. The corporate team agreed to these changes, recognizing the importance of maintaining the store's reputation and ensuring that all customers felt respected and valued. The policy changes were a direct result of Monica's experience, turning a negative situation into an opportunity for growth and improvement. As the new policies were implemented, the store underwent a transformation. Monica and David ensured that all staff members participated in the new training initiatives, which were designed to address unconscious biases and promote inclusivity. The training sessions were intensive, involving role-playing scenarios, group discussions, and workshops led by experts in diversity and customer service. Monica took an active role in overseeing the training, wanting to ensure that the message was clear and that the staff fully understood the importance of these changes. She knew that the success of these initiatives depended on the willingness of the employees to embrace them, and she was determined to lead by example. The training sessions were challenging, pushing the staff to confront their own biases and rethink how they interacted with customers. But they were also eye-opening and transformative, helping to create a more empathetic and inclusive work environment. As the training progressed, Monica began to see a shift in the store's culture. The employees became more aware of their actions and attitudes, and the atmosphere in the store became more welcoming and inclusive. The changes implemented in the store were not just about addressing the specific incident Monica had faced. They were about making a lasting commitment to equality and inclusivity. Monica and David wanted to ensure that their boutique became a model for how businesses should treat their customers, fairly, respectfully, and without bias. Monica felt a deep sense of responsibility to use her experience as a catalyst for broader change. She knew that the work they were doing in the store could have a ripple effect, influencing other businesses and helping to create a more just and equitable society. "We have the power to set an example," she told David one evening, "and it's important that we do everything we can to lead by example." David agreed, fully supporting Monica's vision for the store. Together, they worked to ensure that the commitment to equality wasn't just a temporary response to an isolated incident, but a core value that would guide the store's operations moving forward. They knew that this was just the beginning, and they were both dedicated to continuing the work needed to create a truly inclusive environment. As the changes took root, the store underwent a visible transformation. Customers began to notice the difference in the way they were treated, with employees now more attentive, respectful, and inclusive in their interactions. The atmosphere in the boutique became one of warmth and welcome, a place where everyone felt valued and appreciated. Monica often visited the store, not just to shop, but to observe the changes firsthand. She was pleased to see that the training had made a real impact and that the employees were embracing the new culture of respect and equality. The staff, now more confident in their roles, began to take pride in the boutique's reputation as a welcoming and inclusive space. Word of the store's transformation began to spread, attracting new customers who appreciated the commitment to fairness and respect. Monica and David knew that their efforts had paid off, and they were proud of the progress they had made. The store had not only recovered from the incident, but had become stronger and more resilient, with a renewed sense of purpose and a commitment to treating every customer with the dignity they deserved. Throughout the entire process, Monica's resolve remained unshaken. She knew that the journey to creating a truly inclusive environment was ongoing and that there would always be more work to be done. But she was determined to continue pushing for change, using her experience and influence to make a positive impact, not just in the store, but in the wider community. Monica's actions had a ripple effect, inspiring others in the industry to reevaluate their own practices and policies. Her story became a powerful example of how one person's determination and commitment to justice could lead to meaningful change. She knew that the work was far from over, but she was ready to face whatever challenges came her way, armed with the knowledge that she had made a difference. As she stood in the store, now transformed into a beacon of inclusivity and respect, Monica felt a deep sense of satisfaction. She had taken a painful experience and turned it into an opportunity for growth and improvement. And while there was still much to be done, she knew that she had laid the groundwork for a brighter, more just future. Monica and David's efforts to transform the boutique into a model of inclusivity and respect left a lasting legacy. The store became known not just for its exquisite jewelry, but for its commitment to treating every customer with dignity and fairness. Monica's story spread beyond the boutique, inspiring other businesses to take similar steps toward creating more inclusive environments. Monica's work didn't stop at the store. She continued to advocate for equality and justice in her professional life, using her platform as an attorney to fight for the rights of others. Her experience in the boutique had strengthened her resolve to combat discrimination in all its forms, and she became a powerful voice for change in her community. The legacy of justice that Monica and David created at the store served as a reminder that one person's actions can have a profound impact. They had turned a moment of prejudice into an opportunity for growth, and their commitment to fairness and equality had created a lasting change that would continue to benefit others for years to come. Monica knew that her journey was far from over, but she was proud of the progress she had made and the legacy she was building.